This is what we're always doing. We're trying to wake up, right? We want to acknowledge and cultivate the awareness of this inner light, and then we can learn how to use it more effectively. So Holmes said there's power for good in the universe greater than we, of which we are a part, right? So I'm not the allness of God, but I'm an individualization of that power, that source, that light. And it's within me, and it's mine to use. And that would be true for every single one of us who listened to the call this week and today who are with us. There's a nice group of people here. So we want to acknowledge it. We want to cultivate the awareness of it. That's the thing. You know, you come to a lesson and you hear about it. Your job is to actually cultivate an awareness of this light and realize you have this light, you have this power, and learn how to use it more effectively. You're using it all the time anyway. The shame is many people are using it very destructively. You're using it against yourself. If you're thinking a lot of negative thoughts throughout the week, you know, it's the law of mind, it's the law of cause and effect, it's the law of correspondence. If you're caught up in this negative cycle and old tapes, it's really too bad, because you're just creating that in your life and no one's really doing it to you. This is the thing, you know. Once you start to realize you have this power, it's yours to use, and you can create the kind of life you want, you dream of, then why not do that? So we want to always work on acknowledging and cultivating the awareness that we have it. You're the whole bit, as Barker said, and learn how to use it more affirmatively to acquire a life full of meaning, peace, and joy. If you're watching this lesson today on Facebook or YouTube, you can't watch that because we can't play it because of copyright. So if you're hearing me say it this week, you can go to YouTube yourself and put in there "I'm Light" by India Ari. So I really loved the message of that song and thought everybody would like it, and the significance of the words, "I am light," and how all the sentiments in the song can guide us to shine our own light in the world. From the vastness of our solar system to the innermost spot in life, you know, the intricacies of life, there's this inconceivable beauty and grace that surrounds us and lives within us. Sometimes I wonder how we got so lucky to be able to have this understanding that we hear in this teaching. You know, to have this understanding that we are light, that we are one with the one. You know, if you have that, it's really a profound thing. That you wake up and you realize, my God, I am light, I'm the whole bit. I have power to use, to affect change in my world, in my life. I can live in peace, I can live in joy, I can live in happiness. And I don't have to be a part of all the nonsense that everybody out there is going crazy over. This is really a gift. Bill Cameron, my teacher years ago, said this is the best kept secret of all times, that this God, this light is within you. He said it's the hope of your glory. If you can awaken to it in your life. And here we are, we spoon feed it every week. But I don't know how many people really understand what a gift they have with that very idea. So we see this God, we see this light in everything. If you have a metaphysical approach, if you have the mystic's eye, you're starting to see God, light in everything. Every encounter becomes a holy encounter. You know, every moment is a moment for giving. You can play with that word. Forgiving. It's for just releasing, and it's giving, and it's extending. So this light can be found in the simplest acts of kindness we experience every day. It can be found in every hand or heart that reaches out to one another, every encouraging word. For those of you who are really attempting to practice this teaching, for those of you really doing that work, because it's work, you know, I salute you. And for those of you, for all the people that came before us here, Dr. Barker, Louise, and you know, I can think of so many great teachers that helped keep this message alive. I'm grateful. You know, Emerson was one of the ones I studied a lot. And they used to say of Emerson, a few from every generation will discover him. And what he was actually saying, he was 100 years ahead of his time. I am light. He knew about the power we have. And so we teach the same lesson that's being taught for many, many years, and there will be a few who will get it, but these are a mighty few, because most of humanity is doing it a different way. On the outside, it looks like everybody's in reaction to everybody, and it's a bit overwhelming. You can turn on any news, you can tune into any radio station, and I mean, you know what's out there. I don't need to spell it out today. And it would have us think that, you know, everything's going completely to hell, but that does not have to be my reality or your reality. The choice is always ours to make, and we're making it every single day that we're alive, in each and every moment. As we journey through life, or even as we journey through this afternoon or this week, it's easy to get off track and get weighed down by, you know, limiting beliefs, negativity, negative thought, fear, if we give our power away. Some of us give our power away a lot, and some of us have a lot of expectations and attachments. And of course, when we have a lot of expectations and attachments, that usually leads to having a lot of disappointments. I remember years ago, Louise Hay having a song in material. It was, I can't think of the guy's name. I used to say it was Hal Joseph's, but I read yesterday it was not. It's like High, can't remember the last name, but the lyrics of the song were, I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. I'm beautiful and I'm capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. And then the song goes on to say, I love you the way you are. There's nothing you need to do. When I feel the love inside myself, it's easy to love you. Behind your fears, your rage, and your tears, I see your shining star. And I love you just the way you are. I love the world the way it is because I can clearly see, with all its flaws and craziness, it's perfect, just like me. And it ends by saying, I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can, and I love myself just the way I am. I love myself just the way I am. So how about bringing some of that in today, that I am light, I am love, I love myself the way I am. I release the need to criticize myself. And I realize, you know, that I am not the brokenness that's inside. We're much more than that. I mean, we all have stuff, right? I have stuff. I was completely perturbed coming downstairs today, hearing that they couldn't play the song or do any of this stuff. We get weighed down and we forget who we are. And sometimes we project our hurt and our anger, our fears. We give our power away. And some of us, maybe all of us. And all of that, any kind of resentment, judgment, holds us back from shining our true light into the world. In some of my old spiritual classes, we used to try to make fun of it. We used to call it Igor. Guess who Igor was? Igor was our ego. So, you know, in our classes, we'd say, what gets in the way? Well, our egos get in the way. We're trying to describe our egos with Igor, because it was always getting in the way of the divine circuits. Rev Wade Adkisson said, don't let your bloated nothingness, get your bloated nothingness out of the way of the divine circuits. So what he's talking about is all that stuff that we keep circulating inside of us, our judgments, our resentments. Get that stuff out of the way, let go of it. Get it out of the way of the divine circuits. So when I was taking these classes, we called it, for fun, Igor. In the 12-step programs, they used to have slide, ego. Ego stood for EGO, easing God out. So whenever we're caught up in all that mess, we're caught up in being upset and whatever we are, and we're just like easing the whole awareness of spirit out of the picture. The negative chatter you hear us talk about week by week, it's in our heads, and it can be like a committee that holds us back from reaching our full potential. And it stops us from being who we have come here to be. So how do we break free from this committee that seems to be constantly in our head? I've spoken to some people recently, and the thing that was going on with this person is they're just like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And, they're obsessed with getting it right. And so it's like having a committee in your head, right? And what I could say only is, if you can, just go within and ask yourself, what's the best thing I can do? What's the most self-loving thing I can do right now? Because you know how we are. We just, one of the things with Science in Mind, you've seen the stagecoach, that we teach to children. The invitation is to get out of your comfort zone and get up onto the platform and take the reins. And Holmes said you have power to use. Learn to use it. But if you've got all this stuff going on in your head, we have to find a way to slow down and calm down, take the pause, do whatever you have to do, so we can break free from this chatter, this committee. And as we do, we will learn to let our light shine forth. You've heard the suggestions. I just mentioned a few. I've been playing with this, the whole idea, stop in the name of love, that's invoking the Supremes. There was a British lady, Joyce, years ago, who used to say, cancel, cancel. I can't imitate her voice today. Or next, next, she would say in her lovely British accent. Next, cancel, whatever you can do to stop that, slow it down, that kind of negative chatter. Another favorite, and there's so many, I release the need for this. And always I can see peace instead of this. Instead of what? Instead of anything. Wherever you're in discord or harmony, you can catch yourself, if you catch yourself. And as soon as you catch yourself, you can say, I can see peace instead of this. So you definitely want to get a hold of this inner conversation, I presume, if you're here, right? Embracing the teachings like Louise, who called all this negative talk the committee. As we learn to dig deeper, we pay more attention to what the inner discussion is really like. That's what we ask every Thursday night. What's it been like being you? I know many of you are starting now to recognize the power of your thoughts and your beliefs. And I know a good number of you are having breakthroughs. I hear it. We get the comments. We get the emails. Lately, some of you have been sending some checks with some testimonial letters. It's really wonderful. But you're getting it, and that's great. And the only reason, it's because you're practicing the teaching. You're shifting your inner dialogue and making progress, breaking free from the limitations of the past. For example, have you ever had the thought, I'm not good enough? Raise your hand. That's like mostly everybody. Have you ever had that thought, or I don't do enough, or I'll never be able to achieve what I want to achieve, or it's too late for me? Or have you ever felt unattractive? That's, of course. Have you ever felt defective in any way? Where there's something within you, there's something wrong with you. Have you ever felt any of these things? And I could give you a list of 20 things. I'm going to spare everyone today the list. But here's the point. If you're saying yes to any of this or any of these kinds of questions, understand with me that we have limiting beliefs. We have a committee inside of us that really, that works against us. So we want to find ways to silence that because it's all stuff. Igor, It's just nonsense. We want to release that nonsense into what we call the nothingness from whence it came. The truth is, we aren't defined by the brokenness inside. We aren't defined by our age or our skin or any of the things that were in that beautiful song. We're not defined by our past or the things our family did. We are beings of light. As the song beautifully says, I am light. And I'm capable of changing the inner dialogue around and shifting our consciousness and lifting it up. Shoot for the stars. Don Miguel Ruiz, author of The Four Agreements, spoke about the committee in his book too. Our collection of limiting beliefs and negative thought patterns that we carry around with us have the ability to cloud our minds and prevent us from living the fullness of life that we could. In the book, The Four Agreements, the way he describes it, it's like there's smoke that gets in the way of our reflecting the light that we are. I am light. And there's a smoke, that's all of our beliefs, that gets in the way of our reflecting the light in the world. So as we learn to embrace the teachings, the lessons that we present every single week, new thought, and songs like I Am Light, everything starts to change as we start to practice it. And it's a practice. And each day you can do a review and you can say, okay, I missed the mark here, there, and in all the places. And you make a determination that you're going to catch yourself and get back on track. I always talk about the story of the prodigal child because it's the perfect story. You're born in the kingdom, you have everything. You always have had everything. And so you go off into the weeds and you wake up and as you say, you turn to the Father. The Father is already there. Same with us. And every single day we live, we get off track. We forget. So the game is remembering and forgetting, and that's another song, Remembering and Forgetting. It's the game that we play. So we want to remember, and we want to keep remembering. And we want to be quick to forgive ourselves when we get off track, because we're human beings, and we're spiritual beings, and we're growing. Reading books like You Can Heal Your Life by Louise, and our textbook, as we do, we can start to shift our inner dialogue and break free from the limitations of our past, of what we learned as children, and break free of the things that we bought into that really make us feel bad. I know many of you who might be listening to this presentation today will say to yourselves, or you'll be thinking, it's not so easy, Greg. Easier said than done for me to change this, because I've heard some of you say to me, I'm evil, I'm always, I've heard people say, I can't help it, I'm judgmental, I'm this, I'm that. And so yeah, maybe it's easier said than done, but the thing is, you start, and you keep starting. And you develop some self-compassion, because you're never probably going to get it perfect, right? But there will be a quickening as you engage in this internal process. And if you can tune into a place like this once or twice a week, or as often as you can, or listen to our rebroadcast, it's always there to remind you. I don't think there's a person alive, and I've known a lot of the great teachers in my life who say that their life is perfect. I mean, it's perfect in the sense we're all perfectly unfolding, but it's still a journey, and we're all in a process of dealing with ourselves. It isn't ever about the other person. If you haven't figured that out by now, I'm going to tell you again. It's never about the other person. So it's always about us and our creations. So changing our thought patterns and beliefs can definitely be challenging. Life wasn't meant to be a struggle, though. On the other hand, we're here to learn to enjoy it, and we're here to have a very big vision and create a very wonderful life. So what if we, instead of asking, how can I change my thinking, what if we ask, what thoughts can I choose today that will uplift and inspire me? By focusing on the positive thoughts and affirmations that resonate inside of us, we can start to shift our inner dialogue in a much more positive direction. For example, Louise has suggested affirmations like, I am worthy of love and respect. You might say that to yourself because I don't know if everybody realizes I am deserving, I'm worthy of love and respect. Another one, I choose to release all negativity and I embrace positivity. And India Ari reminds us in her amazing song, I am light. I am light. I am not the things my family did. I'm not the committee. I'm not the voices in my head. And though we've suffered a bit in life, I am not the broken pieces of the brokenness inside. I am light. I am one with life. I'm one with the one. I am whole and complete. And as Raymond Charles Barker said, you are the whole bit. You really are. You're the inlet and outlet of the whole thing. So it's like you got this power to use. Yes, you do. Are you going to use it? You get to create the kind of life you want. There's nothing and no one holding you back except for the things you tell yourself, the things that run inside of you. So you really want to become the guardian at the gate. You want to learn how to manage that dialogue, that conversation, because the tendency of your thoughts and beliefs is what's producing your life. And if you get caught up in what other people are doing and they're doing to you, that's really the wrong conversation. You want to take your power back and you want to be the director of your own show. You are the author of it. You are the creator of it. If you start telling me somebody did this to me, blah, 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 and goes on, I'll listen, of course. I'm trying to be a polite person. But the thing is, you're caused your own experience. You're the whole bit. These affirmations, any of them, all of them that we present, and the ones you choose for yourself, can help you to focus on the light that is within you rather than the darkness that the committee might try to throw your way. So let us take a moment to connect with this light, to know that I am one with this light. Let's take a moment and feel it. The first step of treatment is always about recognizing it, that there's power and there's infinite love and there's presence and it's here and it's with you right now. Allow yourself to feel the radiance and the beauty that resides at our core. Allow yourself to know that you are capable. You're capable of anything you desire. And let us all think about letting go of any place there's any anger, grudge, or resentment, and embrace the power that we have within us, the affirmative ideas, where we recognize that everything is God in action, everything is spirit unfolding. As we do this, we will unlock the full potential of our being, and we will be able to begin to live in joy, abundance, fun. How do we, the question you might ask is, how do we apply these teachings in our day-to-day living? One way always is just become mindful. Check in, what condition my condition's in. Just check in. And like, okay, am I reacting? Okay, I am. All right, so stop. Change it. Change that train of causation. It's your life. One thing I would suggest as I was putting this together this weekend is, how about making a decision to take an afternoon or two to create something, a very powerful vision for yourself, right? And I'm not kidding, that's like, we all say we should take time out to smell the flowers and all of that. How about taking an afternoon or two and just jot down, you might do a board, just take the time to journal, to write, and to develop a very powerful vision for your own beautiful life. I'm not kidding about this either. One of my teachers, Dr. Bill, always said, there's nobody nicer to be nicer to than you being nice to you. I don't think many people will take me up on this challenge, but I'm going to offer it anyway. That would be time well spent. I mean, this isn't a dress rehearsal. You hear me say that from time to time. You know, the years are going by real quick, you know, and you have all this power available. So maybe take a little bit of time out and just get yourself grounded and really do a big, big, big vision and allow yourself to see what, you know, sense and feel what you'd like things to be and where you'd like to, you know, set your sails, you know, where you'd like to go, and just feel it, sense it, write it out. So for those who take me up on the challenge, I think it'll be time well spent. If you take some time and create a really exciting and grand vision for yourself and let yourself again feel all the different parts of it, if you do this, you're powerfully setting an intention in mind. And really, what do you have to lose by? See, nothing. You have everything to gain. Again, you have this awesome power that's in you, totally available to you. Your wish is its command. But for some unexplainable reason, people will say, like, I don't have time. I know it's a good idea, but I just don't have time. I don't know why they do that. It's like the whole world is given to you. Ernest Holmes says you have this bank account downtown. Your name is on it. There's Lady B. Your name, it's like there, it's unlimited. So all we have to do is learn how to receive and be open to it. You have unlimited resources available. And all we have to do is to learn how to go down there, learn how to receive. The kingdom of God is where? It's here, it's at hand, it's always here. And we don't experience it because we're caught up in all that stuff that's going on in our head. So we want to create a really fantastic vision for ourselves. And we want to use journals, and in these journals and in this visioning process, get wild. Think big. In fact, definitely challenge yourself to think big. And just realize you got it all. And again, I said every week in many different ways, there's power for good not only in the universe, but in you. And you can definitely use it. Reverend Ike would always say, you can't lose with the stuff we use here. So we need to take a little bit of time to tune in into our thoughts and feelings so we become more aware of the negative self-talk and beliefs that might be holding us back. Again, absolutely challenge yourself to think and dream big. Think big thoughts. Claim them. Own them. Assume virtues if you don't have them. Now, you all know where that came from, right? I've said it in different lessons. You might recall Benjamin Franklin. Maybe you don't. He wrote Poor Richard's Almanac, right? And he was always telling us to assume a virtue if you don't have it. Actually, it was assume a virtue if you have it not. Act as if you learn from the 12-step programs. Well, same thing as assume a virtue. If you assume this virtue, and I'm going to be loving and caring, do that for a period of time, and eventually that becomes part of who you are. So in case you didn't know, he had an essay in Poor Richard's Almanac, which was entitled, The Way to Wealth. It's a blast from the past. The year was 1758. In his essay, Franklin outlined 13 virtues that he believed would lead to a successful and fulfilling life. Franklin believed that by practicing these virtues, like seeing good in God, I'm going to see good in God. If I do that all week long and all month long, I'm going to start to levitate around here because I'm just going to be seeing good in God. And how do you think I'm going to be feeling? If that's your focus, if that's what you train yourself to see. See, I could see peace instead of what? This. Yeah, this. Say everything and anything. Okay? The peace of God is my one goal, my purpose, my function in my life. You've heard that line before too. You have the ability to create that. You have the ability to see that. You have the ability to be that more and more. So Let's start assuming some of these virtues. And as you do this more and more, it will become a part of you. Let's start practicing the teaching, seeing the God in the good. And as you do so, you will lift yourself up out of the muck. Like the lotus, as you grow towards the light, you realize I am light. And all of that other stuff will not have so much interest to you. We can definitely use affirmations and positive self-talk to replace this old stuff. We can replace all these low energy beliefs. We can trade in the lesser for the greater. We can trade in the lesser for the more empowering thoughts. Another way, again, it would be through journaling. It's like same with the vision board. Just write it down and let it go, and it'll help you clarify and get perspective and see thought patterns that really might be working not for you but against you. We can then use affirmations and positive self-talk to reframe any of these beliefs and shift our mindset in a more positive direction. We can also reinforce the message of Eri today, I am light, and Don Miguel Ruiz and Louise Hay by surrounding ourselves with positive people, positive influences, commune with great thinkers, listen to great thoughts. Just don't let yourself get programmed by modern media. Just you have the ability to choose the stuff. You're a consumer of media and consumer of ideas. Let's start consuming the stuff that's wonderful. Maybe you'd like start reading some new books, listening to some podcasts, Audible, attending a workshop. Staying tuned in here every Thursday or Sunday is definitely a step in the right direction. But the work to do is yours, right? You don't have to do anything, but I would strongly suggest tune in here. This is a great, like it's an insurance policy. Just help you keep you on track. But if you really want to really lift yourself up, then it needs to be a practice. We want to build up our consciousness and our confidence. Our center has a ton of uplifting material on Facebook and YouTube that you can listen to around the clock. We want to learn how to support ourselves with supportive friends and family. We want to hang out with the people who encourage us and uplift us. So today, let's embody the words of that beautiful song, I am light. And let's decide, each of us, to step into the radiance of our true nature, free of limitations of the past, all the stories, every one of them that would excite, I'm this way because. And let's step into the light, release the fears, the negatives that may have held us back. We are beings of light, and it's time for us to shine and let this light go forth in the world. The power of our thoughts and beliefs cannot be underestimated. The negative self-talk and all that stuff of the committee, it just holds us back from being who we can be. By embracing this teaching week by week and practicing it, you'll be seeing the good and knowing the good everywhere. So let's focus on positive things. Let's focus on light. Let's have our affirmations be filled with great thoughts. As we do this, we'll unlock the wonder, the beauty, the splendor that's in us, operating through us. Thank you for joining me on the journey today, and I encourage everybody to continue just knowing how great thou art. And so it is.